Hey, this is Dale Tinsley. You're listening to the Connect Podcast. Our purpose is to guide you to connect with yourself so that you can connect with others and live a life of meaning and value. Continuing the series, Limitless Potential, Endless Refinement. Peace be with you, and welcome to another episode of Connect, our live event, The Great Reset. I'm Dale Tinsley, the Connection Studio. Excited to have you all here, excited to get into it. And we are collaborating today with Jake Lawson of Make It Extraordinary. Welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Excited for this event. It's The Great Reset. It's at that time of year where everybody starts thinking about what have we done, how have we gone this year, and what can we do to change our outlooks, our perspectives, and all of the things that we're moving into for the next year.
That's right, that's right. So we're gonna delve into ourselves. We're gonna start off looking back at when we were kids and how we grew up. And what kind of programming did we get? What kind of programming did we get from our parents, from our friends, from the school that we went to? What kind of television we watched? What kind of events we went to? Our neighborhoods? And so we're throwing all these things out here first just to get your minds going, because in the handout that you have, there's some specific questions that are going to help you dig into yourself and ultimately come out at the end of this event with a shift in perspective, questioning things. Why am I this way? How can I shift into an open mindset? So the programming is super important. People don't even realize that they were programmed, a lot of us, right? It's just, that's the way. If you ask your mom or your dad something, why is it this way? Don't question, right? They tell you, no, because that's the way it is, because that's the way my mama taught me, because that's the way my dad taught me. I know Jacob Lawson, you was asking a lot of questions, huh, homie?
Well, we all had our share of programming. We all have had our share of influence. In this room, we got a lot of generations in here, and each and every generation had their own programming and their own influences. There's a reason why each generation has a different name. Each generation has a different culture. Everybody can say what they want about the older generations and the newer generations, but they all have their own influence, and that's why they are what they are, and they are who they are because of the influences that they're around and the programming that they receive from the outside world.
That's right. So, just to comment a little bit on influence. Healthy, unhealthy, positive, negative. What memories, right, depending on the influence that we received, what memories did that imprint into us? And then we've got pattern recognition. So all of these kind of build off of each other. And these may be things that you never think about. But in the work that we do at Connect, and in order to make your life extraordinary and really tweak it and take it to another level, these are things that we use to challenge our reality, to challenge our why, and to not just accept the status quo, to not just accept, well, that's what society says to do, so we're going to do that. And it's not so much about breaking rules, it's about creating the life that you want. So pattern recognition, we can see it in other people. So one pattern for Jake, he's always going to show up sharp, and he's always on his game. It took work and refinement to get there. Right now, the Saints, if they were playing today, which they're not, there's been a pattern, although they started with a new quarterback, so hopefully that pattern breaks. We can see patterns outside of us a lot easier than we can see them within ourselves. And for that to happen, we have to have rigorous honesty and look ourselves in the mirror and own it. Self-accountability, self-responsibility, key staples of the Connect podcast, mind, body, spirit. So pattern recognition is key. It's key outside of us. It might save your life. Becoming aware on a higher level. And also seeing what doesn't serve you. What are we doing? What do we continue to do? And then after the moment passes, we're like, why did I do that? Why? So step one is being aware of the pattern. If it's a good pattern, great. Fuel it, support it, make it extraordinary, tee it up, you know what I mean? But if it's an unhealthy pattern, we need to get to the why. And we need to really look within ourselves at a profound level and dig deeper.
So we've all got our patterns, whether we recognize them or not. Part of this exercise, we will be going through our patterns, what we recognize to be good for us, what we recognize to be not so good for us. But what we also need is a perspective and a perspective shift. Everybody has their own reality of the world they're living in, but what is the perspective around it? I may say that I'm so busy, I can't handle a single thing else in my life, as we all may feel. But compared to what? Compared to who? You have to have these perspective shifts so you can get caught in your own little bubble and think that you're in this own little world that you can't change anything else around, you can't fix anything else, you can't do anything else because you feel like you're pigeonholed from all of these things around in your own little bubble. However big or small it is, sometimes you need a perspective shift to know that you can get outside of that bubble and do other things that can stretch that reality, can grow from that. So sometimes we need to think outside of our own bubble and get a perspective shift of others. What are others doing in this same situation? What have others done to get out of this situation that I may be trapped in or stuck in or just complacent in? So having that perspective shift of this is my current reality, but if I think outside the box or the bubble, what can I do to change my current reality and get that perspective shift?
I love it. Yes. And you guys notice how when you go on vacation, even for a day trip somewhere, and you just get away and you change the perspective of your surroundings and where you are, it's like, and it's so bizarre, right? You can get on an airplane and be somewhere totally different. A couple hours later, you drive in a car and you're like, this time was invested, you put in the work, you got there, and you get to enjoy a different perspective. And that's key because it offers us the opportunity to truly reflect. And then in that reflection, we hit that gratitude, right? Maybe some humility of, man, you know, this is, maybe my life isn't so bad. Or maybe God hits you with the download of what you were seeking. You were seeking the why of how to get out of, I'm in this loop and I don't see a way out. And then boom, you put yourself somewhere different. You have a different reality, a different perspective. And now your mind starts to open and shift and the creativity starts hitting you. And you start breathing a little easier. And you come back with some clarity from it, right? So perspective is amazing. Perspective, I mean, all of those are awesome, all of them. You know, I know it sounds bizarre, but it is truly life-changing. And what's the goal? We want to excel, we want to be happy. We weren't put here to just go to work, go to school, and accomplish all of these things that we check. It's about the experience and the journey of growing and evolving and becoming a better version of you day to day. And that leads to the architect and the design. Miss Judy, who's the architect of your life?
Well, God first.
Okay, I agree with that. Are you a co-architect, a co-creator?
Absolutely.
Co-creator.
Yes.
Yes.
God first, but you don't try to override him.
Mm,
You let him take control, and then you do your thing.
that's it. Yeah, we have to do our part. So I asked one of the one that's got more wisdom.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get the wording correct.
Old.
Experience.
Okay.
With the experience and the beautiful person that you are inside now, the wisdom, and it radiates off of you, your love for your family and what you do for the community. So grateful to have you. In co-creation with God, there comes the responsibility, right? We step into the responsibility of being the architect and designing our life. And if something's not for us, sometimes we'll be chasing something and we keep chasing it and it eludes us. And there's that saying, maybe God kept all that from you. You thought you wanted it, but why did you want it? Why did you want it, right? So that brings us to ego and authenticity. And the why. Why are we, if we're going to talk about architect and design, we need to know within ourselves we have the ego, the bad wolf, and our authenticity, which is effortless, it's love, it's so relaxed. So in the perspective of being the architects of our life, co-creating with God and designing where we want to go, and that's what this great reset is about. Like Jacob mentioned, a shift in mindset. So as we dig into our whys, we're going to talk about some different things, some hows, and we're going to get into details, and it's going to be a different experience for everybody. But the why will lead you to your reality of why you are the way you are. Different events, different situations like that. You want to get into question number 1? What you think?
Let's do it.
All right. Open up your little handout that you got. And let's start chipping away.
So, we all talked about our programming and our influence, and so that's where we'll start here. And what we want everybody to do is list 3 beliefs or influences that we notice and carry with us today that we know came from our early childhood experiences, whether it's our family, whether it's our parents, whether it's our siblings, our uncles, aunts, or friends of the family. Like, what are those influences and beliefs that we picked up in childhood that we notice today? It's a staple in us. It is a core belief that we have, so knowing what those are and knowing which ones are serving us positively and knowing which ones that are serving us negatively. So we've got 3 spots for each. You don't have to fill out all 3. If you want to focus on 1 or 2 that just really stand out, take those in and let's contemplate on them, because this is where we're starting at of why we are the way we are, the programming or the influences that we were raised around that gave us the staple core characteristics that we live by, that we stand by, that make us who we are.
I'll kick it off. My dad taught me to be kind. He was always, that's one thing, and that's a great quality, I mean, I didn't get too many from him. He's a man of few words. But kindness, that was imprinted on me. I saw him show me, be kind to the animal, be kind, and he was always, and his nickname's Buddy, right? Even today I call him Buddy. So that's one that stands out for me, kindness. What about you, Rob? What jumps out at you?
Not right this moment.
It could be anything.
I'm new at this. I'm just
More
learning.
negative than
What jumps in your head when you hear that?
Kind.
No, not. I mean, or that one. This is about you and your when you were growing up and they were cultivating you.
I really don't want to talk about that.
Christian,
Be a man of your word.
I'm sorry.
married to your work.
No, be a man of your word.
Oh, I love it.
My dad was big on that.
Do what you say, and say what you do.
Yep.
Man of your word. Okay. What about you, Jake?
My dad was a man of very few words.
Oh yeah, me too. Mine.
My dad is a man of very few words, but that being said, he led by example. He went to work, he worked offshore and overseas, so he was gone a lot of my childhood. And to me, that meant he was always working. I knew what he was doing. He was working to provide for the family. And to me, that was leading by example. Does anybody want to live a life offshore? Not really, you know. But do you want to take care of your family? You want to provide for your kids, your wife, right? So he led by example, but that also put the work ethic into me. At an early teen, I wanted some things, and my mom said, you want that? Go out and make some money. You want it? Go get it. As an early teen. So work ethic was put into me in those two directions without really saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you know? But that was just instilled in me. And maybe I had a little intuition from God that was put into me as well, that let that blossom and grow. But that's one of the biggest perspectives that I had as a child that grows with me today, that has been a staple with me through my whole life.
Okay, sweet. And look, it's not all, these are positives, so to speak. We're not here to just talk about sunshine. You know, I'll share one. I had an emptiness. I can't even spell it because my brain's EMP. And the emptiness was from, it felt like in my household when I was young, it felt like a bunch of people that were related, but it didn't really feel like a family, you know, unfortunately. And God put certain people, like my grandma, well, both my grandmothers at that time, and neighborhood moms, and then later in life, the mom of a girlfriend, and like one of my brothers, Reggie Felder, Ms. Dell, you know, and Miss Stacy. And so God put key people in my life to fill that emptiness, but just keeping it real, looking back, for me, that was one that jumps out.
So before we get too far into this part, especially in the workbook, the reason why we have the workbook here is because we know not all of this is easy. Not all of it is going to come to you instantly. Like sometimes you're not just going to jot it down, right? We've all seen amazing people talk. I mean, we've listened to this guy quite a bit, so I mean,
Thank you.
You know, if that's all it took was to listen to a couple people talk about it, and then your life was changed, you know, we'd all hear a podcast, and our lives we'd have everything, right? So this is meant to put some stuff down and reflect with yourself on this, and reflect back later and reflect after this, and put some deep thought into it. So the reason why we brought this workbook is to work through some of this stuff. Some of it may come easy right now, some of it may not, but something is to spark that interest and then give you something to not just walk away from here and be changed. No, to give you something to reflect upon and make those perspective shifts after you leave here.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, it's
Ready now?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of information to take in, right? So like Jake said, the paperwork is really for after the fact, because how do things work, right? Maybe a movie or a song, you can enjoy it right there, and maybe some things will hit you as we're speaking and going through the Great Reset in order to create that shift in mindset. But typically, you read a book or you go to an event like this, it's the reflection afterwards. It's the reflection afterwards. And then when this episode goes live, you guys can watch it and it'll hit you again, you know? And then as those things start to come up and you feel ready and you got a little time, dig into one question at a time. Dig into the second one, you know, because the internal work is the toughest work you'll ever do. But I can promise you it'll bring you the most meaning and value when you get to your why and you can course correct and you understand that you are the co-creator with God, the architect, and the design. So it is a lot to take in. A lot of people run from accountability and self-accountability, you know, we know that. But in order to connect with ourselves and be able to connect with others, we got to keep it real. And the first conversation I had with Jacob, because of Andreas, he said, man, you need to connect with this guy, man. Y'all are very similar, doing similar things. And I mean, we talked for like 45 minutes. And I was just laying out like some of my core stuff with Connect. And he was like, man, that's in my book. So there's similar alignment. And we're trying to grow both brands and continue to bring meaning and value to you guys. So
I believe everybody has the ability to have their own extraordinary life. It's different for each and every single individual out here, right? But you have to be the architect and designer. And God will often, or the creator, the earth, whoever you want to believe in, will often show you a sign. But it's still up to you to act on that sign. I'm a firm believer. I roll the dice a lot. Sometimes I win big, and sometimes I crap out and it hurts. But I roll the dice, and I win more than I lose because I'm not afraid to listen to that intuition. I'm not afraid to listen to those little signs. Just this last week, I just left Utah Friday. I met somebody, same interaction. Somebody said, you got to meet this guy, Trevor Crowley. You got to meet him. I talked to him. We talked a couple times. He invited me up, said, yeah, it would be nice. One day we'll go. We had another interaction where we had the same, I did a video and he did a podcast on the same thing the same day. And I was like, oh, that was my second sign. That was it. So I had to listen. I invested the time to go and do the podcast with him then. I could have blown it off. I had that, it's just a little bit of a wind blow. It's not this smack in the face sign. Just a little bit, but I listened to it, you know? And we talk about architect and design, and I go and do the podcast with him, and then I go do some nature walking in the red rocks of Utah, and I'm climbing these red rocks, and then I'm listening, and as it happens in God's divine time, the song comes on. I've never heard it in my life. It says, you are the mountain. You are the mountain. You need to continue climbing, right? So don't be complacent in what life just gives you. Sometimes you have to listen to those signs and continue to climb.
And in that climb is where the shift in mindset comes, right? And in that climb, like Jake spoke about, when we hear that voice, we're honoring our authenticity. We're honoring our intuition. And then you start to realize you are in alignment. And when you are in alignment, synchronicities start happening. You'll think of something, the phone will ring. The person you just thought of, you get the job, like you feel amazing, you get full body chills because you start to experience the flow. And so this is the dream right here.
Well, you can start all of this and you can figure out you're in alignment and rolling with the flow, or also figure out I'm not in alignment. I need to fix this flow, right? So once you start searching for that shift in mindset, it could happen two ways. You could find out that this is going exactly how I want it to go, or you find out that something's not right and this is why I'm being called to make these shifts.
So the other side of alignment is resistance, right? Stagnation. And that's what we're here to do today, is have the great reset. And that paperwork that you have, how often do you do in your business? How often do you do an inventory? Or you sit down with your key players, your key team, and you do a reorg, or a realignment, so to speak, from a business point of view?
There's multiple smaller checkpoints, right? There's checkpoints weekly, there's checkpoints quarterly, and then there's big at the end of the year, like, hey, how'd we do? What can we do different? What can we change, right? So here we are, we're at this end of the year mark where everybody likes to make these New Year's resolutions, right? So we're at this end of the year mark, and that's part of this great reset. What have we done this year? We all probably made some sort of resolution last year. Did any of it happen, is a question. Was it short-lived? Was it serving you? Did it not serve you? Did you not serve it? Right? So this is that end-of-year reflection.
Yes.
Where it's time to, I don't really love New Year's resolutions because most of them fail, you know, but how about a New Year's commitment? You know, I'm a commitment guy. A resolution seems like I'm gonna try. And I'm a guy that believes that if you tell somebody or you tell yourself, I'm gonna try, I'm the guy that's gonna say you failed already.
He always corrects me and say, I will try to do that. And I say, don't say that. I will try. Say, I'm gonna do it.
So 100%.
Doesn't say, I'm gonna try.
No, you ain't gonna
Not
do it.
happen.
You ain't gonna do it.
So think of it, so a shift in mindset right now on that. There is no try, there is do. Now the caveat to it, to really have the shift in mindset, don't worry about the outcome. You do it, and you give it your all, and you set yourself up for success, being the architect and the designer of what it is you're gonna do. We put this whiteboard together today. It was it looked like a bunch of monkeys with some wrenches and flashlights, and it was chaos, right, so to speak. But we came together, and we used resources, and we pulled together, and we did it, okay? So I guess the point, to have that shift in mindset, a lot of times we don't want to try because what are they going to think if I didn't do it right, if it's not perfect? You shift your mindset from don't worry about the outcome, stay focused, stay committed, stay grounded in what you're doing, and then be in humility and gratitude that if you didn't do it right, you got somebody extraordinary that will help you, or a girlfriend, or a friend, in any situation you're in. It removes not trying. Because, you know, often it's our ego, judgment, fear, doubt. And then when we don't try, then the resentment comes in. After we don't try, so many times of that, we start building up resentment towards who?
Ourselves.
Towards ourselves. And so that is a battle and a tool of the ego. Well, I can't do that. What are they going to think? Man, you got maybe a good 80 years on this planet. If you're not hurting nobody, breaking laws, enjoy your life. And the Great Reset is about a shift in mindset to create the life you want by looking at it clearly, acknowledging the negatives, showcasing the positives and choosing. And we're going to get into that in a little bit more in some greater detail. So all of this conversation is designed to open your mind and open your heart so that we can think about our own selves, because it's, you know, we have families, we have people that support us, we support each other, we love each other. But this life thing is really a sport of one with the co-creator. If you tapped in, right? It's really a sport of one. When we go to bed at night and you close your eyes, you know, if Heidi closes her eyes, my eyes don't close. You know what I'm saying? Like there's coexistence and working together and trying to be in alignment and flow with your partner, your family. But in the reality of it, I mean, look, a lot of families are chaotic because everybody's in a different mindset. And some people are totally locked into ego and they don't have the pattern recognition. They don't understand their programming or how they've been influenced and how they continue to be influenced. And all we want to do is live like Judy over here. Be authentic. Don't fake the funk. And look, I'm going to tell you, it takes work to get there, because when you start doing what's right for you and honoring your intuition, like Jacob talks about a lot on the episode that he blessed me with, he came, sat on the couch. We had a great conversation. That was one of the main things that I took away, is like that, honoring that voice all the time, you know, which I'm in the business of that, but that like was so profound, man. That was good stuff.
To have a support system is huge. Everybody needs a good support system, and that's going to help you get through the toughest times. But your support system is not going to give you the commitment. Your support system cannot commit for you. You have to commit. When you commit, your support system can help carry you through those tougher times. But it's the commitment within that makes the change. It's not the support system. The support system helps you along the way when times get tough. But they don't make that change. You have to make that commitment.
That's right. You want to tackle the second question?
So the second question is, and we're going to be taking an interlude in a little bit, but we want you to start reflecting on this. The second question is going to be, you know, of the negatives and the positives, what are the changes that you can make to either accentuate those positives, make them stand out? These are your positives in life. These are the things, these are your core beliefs. These are what make you, you, and what are some of the best things and contributions that you can give. So what are some of those tweaks that you can make to that can make some life changes in your life or the people around you? And what are some tweaks that you could make to some of those negative attributes that could also change your life or the others around you? What are some tweaks that you can do? Either some tweaks or some changes or some complete eliminations that will serve you going forward and eliminate some of the negativities or negative connotations that you've picked up in your in your life.
And that could be people, places, habits, listening to the bad wolf more than you're listening to the good wolf. But the bad wolf's so much fun, yeah. And then what happens? And then the chaos, it slaps you around. You step into that void of the unknown in the chaos because it's exciting and you know you shouldn't be doing it. And boy, that high is short-lived, speaking from a ton of experience. And then the other side of that is the good wolf. It's not so exciting, but there's longevity in it. And it just starts to happen, but none of it just happens until you commit and you decide and you set yourself up for success. And this is the Great Reset, Part 1. So we'll take a break now. We want to thank you guys for coming. Help yourself to drink and refreshments, and We hope the wheels in your head are spinning and we got your heart working. Get your mind and your heart in coherence. And we'll be right back. Peace be with you, and welcome back to part 2 of the Great Reset. All by design, getting into the weeds to have that mental shift. Welcome back. What you think, Jacob?
I think it's time to get into the what and the how. We all know what we like about ourselves. We all know what we don't like about ourselves. The question is, how can we change some of those, or how can we make some of the ones that we do like even better?
So we'll kick off with the what. What do we need to feed? What do we need to release? It's going to look different for everybody here and everybody at home watching. So I want to start with habits. Habits, that ties into pattern recognition, raising our awareness, truly analyzing and looking at our lives from an outside perspective. And what kind of beliefs do we have? What kind of beliefs do we have? Are they limiting? Are they expansive? Do we feel connection through our beliefs? Or do our beliefs make us feel segregated? And maybe we don't understand our beliefs fully, and that's okay. With this workshop, there is no right or wrong. This is just about throwing everything out there and having an honest look at your own life. And it's not about perfection. It's about progress. And the paperwork that you have, when you decide and you commit to start tackling it, when you've reflected enough on the presentation, make a pass at it. And then, like Jake was saying, with their safeguards and their different levels that they hit on the business side of things, do it every 2 months and see your progression, see your mind opening up, see your heart opening up, see your self-awareness opening up, and really start to question and ask yourself why. And you don't have to show this paperwork to anybody. You don't have to show it to your husband, your wife, your kids, your friends, nobody. This is your work. And as you begin to get into alignment and start tapping into your authenticity more, then you'll share, and the fear and the doubt will start to dissipate. But for now, when you start to get in and challenge your ego, you're going to feel that resistance hit you. And it's gonna come for you.
And it can upgrade too, right? You don't have to stay stuck.
No.
You can upgrade that.
Yes. And you need to watch the episode Get Unstuck, which we did a live presentation. And Jake Lawson was there making it extraordinary. We had some other speakers. So the Connection Studio, we put on these events to help people open their minds and open their hearts. And I'm blessed to have my friend here contributing, expanding, making it extraordinary.
So as my man in the back said, what this whole thing is about is getting an authentic perspective of ourselves here. That's what that notepad is. That's what this worksheet is. It's getting an authentic perspective of ourselves. The things we like, the things we don't like, the things that serve us, the things that don't serve us. As Dale just said, that paper is for nobody but yourself, unless you have an accountability partner or support partner that you want to share it with, that y'all can do this together, because some of those things, to make those big changes, you want your support system to know these are the changes you want to make. So this is for yourself, to get an authentic perspective of everything you are, who you are, what you love about it, and what you'd love to make some changes about.
That's right. So this one right here, digital distractions. This one, 2025. You know, personally for myself, when text messages came out, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, it just didn't feel right. You know, oh, I can send a text. Okay, well, you know, and compare the beginning of that to where it is now, and some people read into text messages a little bit too much. They feel some kind of way. And how do you avoid that? Pick up the phone. So for me, and look, it's come to be a part of our lives, but I wanted to highlight digital distractions and just make you aware of it.
Well, you know, Dale, there's a time and a place for stuff like that because emails are very important in the business world.
Sure.
Because you have your paper trail.
Sure.
You can't remember every conversation unless you recorded every word you said.
Right.
And in a business world, that is
It's a standard.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
In a personal,
not in Judy LeBlanc's household. I mean, you call me. Don't send me text messages. Call me to make sure I'm still alive. You know?
Jake, you got to call Judy.
I gotta call my mom now. You know, I don't know about y'all, but I gotta call
You
my mom.
need a timeout to go call her?
When you live by yourself, I don't want to be a week rotting in my house because my kids text me and they didn't get a reply back to that, but they didn't even think to pick up the telephone to call to make sure mom's still breathing. I could be dead in my house, and unless y'all check on me, okay? Please, thank you very much.
Noted.
Yes.
Noted.
Little anxiety in the room. Little anxiety.
Yeah, I rolled right into that one.
Little bit of anger, maybe.
There's some fear in there too. But in all seriousness,
How to use the tools.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
Because every tools came to help us. But if you know how to use, it can kill you.
Oh, yeah.
yes, yes. So this is more of a reminder of, instead of giving your kid the iPad or zoning out on the TV, and there are other things that are of meaning and value that you're not tapping into and connecting with because the digital distractions have got you. And it happens to everybody. Look, I remember when Haven was young and I was playing this game, and it was like a little farm game, and you had the chickens, and the chicken had to make the egg, and then you sold the eggs, and you could buy a tractor and all this stuff. And I was zoned out on that, and then she came over, and thank God she could actually enjoy it with me, right? But full transparency, I mean, it happens. Right? This is just calling attention to it, to put it on our radars, that when I feel I'm getting sucked into YouTube or sucked into Instagram or whatever the platform or the area is, you know, have that little wake up moment, right? So when you feel yourself getting sucked into it, now you're aware, hey, look, I've been on here an hour, okay, time to go do something else, right? So that's what digital distractions is about.
This is life. This is life in 2025, right? This is not going to change. We all just need to know where our distractions are, how often they are distracting us, and are they distracting us when they're supposed to be distracting us? Is this our downtime when we have the time to be distracted, or should we be focused on something else that could be serving us, and instead we're distracted, scrolling, mind-numbingly doing things that are not serving us? So do we need to feed those, or do we need to release those? You know, that knowing that and being aware of how often we're doing it is very crucial.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into some of the how, right? Because as we're talking about the what we need to feed, what we need to release, and look, you know, these things can be looked at as things that we need to release. I would agree with that 100%. But in looking at these things, how do we deal with those things, right? First would be, which isn't up here, self-awareness. Were you aware of this? No, I wasn't aware. Were you conscious of that? No, I wasn't conscious. If you don't know, you don't know. But if we don't slow down and stop and like slow down and be present, then we run in 100 miles an hour, living in fight or flight, chaos. The mind, I can't get my mind to stop. You can, it takes practice. It takes meditation. Like Jake was saying, it takes that time alone. Tell them about what you were sharing with us after that one relationship.
Well, we get so used to being whoever we are, whoever we were designed to be, whoever we were influenced to be. Many of us are stuck in the people-pleasing world, whether it's people-pleasing for your company, whether you're pleasing your boss, whether you're pleasing your spouse, whether you're pleasing your mom, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes we get caught in that, and that builds our personality. This is who we are. You know, me and you have talked about it many a times, being a people pleaser, because who we are, and then we figure out and we finally start settling in and saying, well, I'm pleasing so much that I'm not pleasing myself. I'm not serving myself. I'm so busy serving others that I am not taking the time to serve myself. And in that time when I serve myself, then I'll actually find that I'll have that value to then share with the people that deserve it.
The well. If you don't replenish your own energy source and your connection with God, and you feed your well, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself how? Spending the time alone for self-reflection. In that self-reflection, what do, Jake?
You're sitting there, self-reflection on the things you like, the things you don't like. Well, you also need to take, self-reflection is in the past. It's already happened.
Right.
You know, even if it's in the mirror, it's in the present, and 2 seconds later, it's gone. So at the same time, you need to do the self-projection. If you don't like who you're seeing in the mirror right now, you need to be able to project that version. When I went into my health transformation that I wanted to fix myself, I was 40 and 50 pounds overweight. Looking in the mirror at that person 50 pounds overweight, but I still saw this version right here that I wanted to become. I saw him. And every day I'd look and I'd still see the fat boy in the mirror. But the other guy was standing there too. And I saw him. I projected that version of myself. So you need to project who you want to become, not just reflect on who you are or who you were.
So we've talked about the what. We throw up some hows. But let's get more granular. Let's say, and I'll put this trigger warning. So we're going to talk about real time, how to deal with it in the moment. Somebody shows up to the event, to the Great Reset, because they're curious about the Great Reset, and they got free food and booze, and so they show up, and somebody in here doesn't like them for whatever reason. So the minute that person comes in, whoever it is sees them and they cringe, boy. We call that a trigger, right? It could be a person, it could be a moment, it could be a song, reminds you of heartbreak, it could be anything. In that moment, we got two choices. We can feed the emotion, whether it's fear, anger, and the triggers. If it was a good thing, we wouldn't be really discussing it. It would just be, oh, well, that makes you happy. Oh, that's great. But it's a negative connotation. And so the trigger is tied to an emotion that somebody creates or reminds us of this one moment. Our ego attaches a story to that moment, and then we stay in that loop, okay? So that person comes in, the person gets triggered, boom. They have the visceral, physical reaction. probably go and get another drink. Their drink's full, they down that. They're like, they start looping and playing that scenario in their head. They go get the drink, they come back. And this is where we have to step into our courage. We have to step into our courage to break this pattern. We step into our courage and we say, you know what? This is the day there's a shift. There's a shift in mindset like you guys saw on the other side, because it's a great reset. We have to create the shift in mindset, but it comes from commitment, dedication, and deciding. So you go get your drink, you come back, and you say, this is going to change right now. And you walk over to the person, you say, hey, how you doing? You don't know what's going to happen. And that's not, you cannot control anybody outside of yourself. But what you can control is initiating and stepping into your courage and saying, you know what? I'm going to do my part to squash this, or to resolve this, or to at least, I'm going to be okay with it. The other person may react however they're going to react. You don't know. However they react, mean, ugly, maybe they blow it off. It still bothers them, but they're playing like no big deal. Hey, I just wanted to say I apologize for my part in that moment. I said some things that were out of line, and, you know, I own it, and I'm just, you know, letting you know that I apologize for it. Well, you shouldn't have said that, and blah. You don't know what's going to come. But in that moment, you take the power from your ego and you dissolve this trigger by stepping into your courage, because you're fully present. You're stepping into your courage. You're trying to have a meaningful conversation. And as you were grabbing that drink, you were projecting into the future. You were envisioning getting past the trigger, so you no longer loop in it, and your ego can't continue to keep you prisoner and have that negative vibe with that person. And we all go through things. It doesn't matter where you're from or how you popped out on this planet, what culture, what color, how much money. We all have our trials and tribulations. And nobody's Jesus. Nobody's perfect. So stepping into our courage, making that choice, that commitment like Jacob talks about, committing, I'm going to change this moment. I'm going to be fully present, which means you're not looping anymore. When you make that decision, you're not looping anymore, because you committed to facing that moment, stepping into your courage, facing that trigger, and doing your part to neutralize the situation, or at least to make amends. And let me tell you, that is so freeing. That's so freeing. And you do that one at a time. So when we talk about the what and we talk about the how, this right here creates so much anxiety for people, so much anger, so much hate and resentment that people walk around with looping, and then they spiral. And then the spiraling is like the drinking doesn't stop. And then they go gambling or whatever. You feel what I'm saying? That's the spiraling. And it doesn't end well. So that's on a granular level, how to step in on one moment.
Use the person as the example to set the trigger. But when we think to the first half of this, when we think about the negative things, that the negative traits that we carry with ourselves, in order for them to come out, they're normally triggered some sort of way, right? So it's not just a person. It could be an event. It could be the smell of a food, the sight of something else, right? There's typically some sort of trigger that brings out this negative aspect of ourselves, right? So being able to figure out what that trigger is that turns me to go drinking because I got aggravated, or it turns me to binge eating, or it turns me to arguing with my wife or arguing with my partner because I was triggered. And then it brings out what? The worst in us. It brings out those negative qualities that we don't like in ourselves, that are the worst parts, that never serve us. Those negative things, they're a reason why we have to treat them as a negative part of our personality, because they don't serve us and they don't serve anybody else, and they're normally brought out by a certain trigger, right? So being able to know what those triggers are, acknowledge those triggers are, be fully present when those triggers happen, then that gives us the mindset to maybe stay out of the loop that we've been in our whole life. Well, when this happens, I do this.
Right.
When that happens, I do this. Well, we're conscious of those triggers, so now we can have the mindset shift to be able to try to react differently. Go talk to that person that you normally never would have talked to. Maybe, there's no way I'm going to talk to her, right? But instead, you know what? Maybe that happened 20 years ago, and maybe I could put the water under the bridge and we can move past this. Maybe we see eye to eye, maybe we don't, but I took the courage, I was fully present, and I went in and I tried to change my normal routines, my normal triggers, my normal reactions when I do get triggered.
You know, when we talk about the what, we talk about the how, what do we need to feed? What do we need to feed? I know Miss Judy was talking about the next event that we have at Miss Judy's house. All the cell phones will go into a Faraday pouch. And they're going to be put to the side. You're joking. You want me to do that?
I want to do it.
You're going to do it, or you want me to do it?
Well,
You going to own it?
I can own it. Because
Ownership. It's empowering
You might make
to
people
step
mad,
in.
though.
oh,
That's on them. That's on them.
I know,
That's not on her,
right.
because her goal is to create connection. So it might take a little time. People may not always agree or like your choices, but if you're in your authenticity, they will respect it.
And I also think that they'll appreciate it as well.
After the fact.
When they get rid of their anxiety from
Yeah.
being disconnected from their cell phone.
Right?
Oh, smartwatches too.
Yeah.
there's only one person that I think it's going to be bothered.
So we won't invite that
So-
person. Or we'll text them a PDF, and they'll have to digitally sign off on the contract and check the little box before they can hit submit. Because if you don't check the one,
Check the boxes. Gotta check
So-
the boxes.
But that right there, that is a shift in mindset. And let me tell you, you do that, that will shift a timeline, where the timeline would be here. The same continued behavior, the same cell phone, the same mostly disconnection between the people because some are distracted. Some are there trying to connect. And then one's trying to connect with the other and the other one's on the phone. And it's like, and it's an energy killer.
Sometimes you don't have a choice, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Do the same. Follow the rule.
yeah, and people, then you go to dinner and you see 10 people having dinner and 7 of them are on the phone. But what I'm saying is, once you make that decision, what would have been shifts. It's a new timeline, because now, from this day forward, the next event, there will be a different pattern set in play based on you being authentic, because you want connection between you and your family. And that's a great thing. Have you heard of the Connect podcast? Mind, body, spirit. And we should pray together more.
I agree.
So what I believe when we start talking about the feed and release, each and every one of us here is different. Each and every one of us here have these positives and these negatives that we're talked about in this thing that we're putting down on our worksheet. Each and every one of us have a different realization in life. And we're talking about which ones do we need to feed, which ones do we need to release. It can be very strongly that we need to feed, or we need to release, you know, or it could be some combination of the two, you know. So right here in this whole workshop and this worksheet is to figure out which of these are. Maybe I just need to release tweak a couple little bad habits. It's not that bad. Maybe I just got to tweak them. But maybe I need to feed the hell out of some of these other things that if I would just lean into this, my life would be extraordinary.
Oh, I knew he was coming with that. I was going to ask you, what would it become? John Gaston, a guy that I work with sometimes, he says, you know, Dale, it only costs a little bit more to fly first class. I'm like, dude, the ticket's twice as much. But his point is,
Just a little.
you put in the extra effort and you make it extraordinary. That applies to everything.
Perspective.
Yes.
Perspective.
Yes. It's a
I like his perspective.
no doubt. Me too. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, it's nice.
He's a good guy.
I need to meet that guy.
Yeah, I think it turns something average or normal into art. When you put in that little bit more and you lean into it and you put those certain touches on it and you make it extraordinary, it becomes art.
Ordinary to extraordinary.
From ordinary to extraordinary. Yeah.
As we look around this room, there's a couple of things you can notice and a couple of things that you would never notice. You might notice some of the paintings on the wall. You know why? Because they're a piece of art. You may discuss a piece of art that's hanging on the wall. But I haven't heard anybody mention the beautiful gray paint on the walls. So you can be a painter or you can be an artist. A painter is of the ordinary. An artist creates something extraordinary. Nobody talks about the ordinary. People discuss the extraordinary. Be something worth discussing.
That's it.
Love it.
And that all starts in your mind. And what Jacob was talking about with projecting yourself into the future. But in order to really project into the future and become a visionary and envision the future, we got to self-reflect. To have the great reset every 2-3 months and take that self-inventory, take that inventory of your life outside. What can you add a little bit more to make it extraordinary and be of service to others? Being of service to others, helping someone that you know is in a bind or you know they need some help, stepping in, you're feeding your authenticity. It's honorable. And that's what we need is connection. We need love. We got enough hate, misery, digital distraction, disconnection by design. Imagine a world where people were connected to themselves. They didn't have to try to be something other than what they just were. I'm a dreamer, so you know. That's where I'm at with it. But I started off all over here. I started off on the other side of the board in the ego. I started off falling on my face. Then I fell to 2 knees. Then I fall to a knee. Now I stumble every once in a while. But compared to 20 years ago, it's night and day. 20 years ago, it's night and day.
I have a question for both of y'all.
Yes, sir.
When does control become too much for yourself? Like wanting to take control of your life, but you can't control others or how other things are going to go. How does that affect your ego and your brain?
you don't focus on things you can't control. I'm a firm believer, and I only focus on the things that I can control. Because if you control yourself and control as much as you can around your surroundings, the outside is inevitable. The things that you cannot control, you need not worry about. You can't control them. Prepare yourself the best you can be prepared. And the things outside of your control, pray for them if you want, you know?
May I say something? The thing about life is this. You're going to have a lot of relationships in life with people that you love genuinely and you care for genuinely, but you can't control or help them no matter what you do. Those people, unfortunately, you have to give them to God and say, hey,
Just pray
it's up
for
to
it.
them.
You gotta
You
figure it out.
can't control other people's actions. And the more you try to control other people's action, you become a people pleaser. Because you're going to try to please that person so you can control their actions to be what you want them to be, but they're never going to be what you want them to be. So you're going to become a people pleaser, and then you're going to go in this big circle, and that's how life happens in the wrong. You're not being authentic to yourself.
You said it. I was about to call it.
Yeah,
I was
you're
about
not
to
in
call it.
alignment.
And
You're
authenticity.
in a loop. That someone else now has what? They have control over
Jake.
you because you're
Jake.
trying to help them.
Flip it. Loosen it. And I wanted to show this again because of our egos. And you can want the best for somebody, but we can influence people, but that's about it. Like with the Connect podcast, I don't tell people what to think. I hope I inspire them to think. I hope I influence them to get unstuck, to look for alignment, to look deep within themselves, to find that great reset, to have a shift in mindset, and to make it extraordinary. You know, but that's, and control will leave you frustrated, it will leave you in resentment, it will leave you crazy, living in fight or flight, the illusion of control.
So, in this great reset, when we talk about control, controlling yourself, I'm going to flip the page a little bit. I'm going to flip the number 3 and the number 4. And I'm going to start with, you know, what transformations do I want to make in myself? And in order to realize those transformations, sometimes I have to figure out what am I no longer going to accept from myself in order to make room for these new transformations that I am committing to. So what will I no longer accept from myself? So we've talked about the things we don't like. You know, maybe we wrote them down, maybe we didn't. Maybe we've realized them right now, maybe we won't. But once we realize these things, are we going to commit to no longer accepting them within ourselves?
It could be, like Christian was saying, relationships where it dawns on you that you're people pleasing. And these people, some people, Edgar said at our last event, or it might have been in one of the episodes where I interviewed him, he talked about people seeing people pleasers and manipulating them and taking advantage. Like, I mean, that's some low down, that's low down, man. You know what I mean? Like, this person is stuck in the ego of people pleasing and someone sees that and then they prey on them.
But people like that like to be pleased all the time. They're so smart to manipulate. They know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like I say, able to see.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you please and you can't see because they manipulate it so perfect.
Oh, I know a
Yeah.
powerful manipulator.
So that's why sometimes
A
we
couple
have
of
to
'em.
give time to think by yourself and say, what I'm doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because people like to be praised all the time. They expect to manipulate people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
You know?
Yeah, they say they're narcissists. Those people.
Narcissist, yeah. And anyway, you do something. You can do something so perfect, and always they're gonna charge you. This is not enough.
Sure.
Make you feeling it's not enough.
Right.
They had to do more. They had to do more to be enough. You know,
Mhm.
and it's not enough.
Yeah.
Always they want more and more. You know, I tell my kids all the time. It's not just about one. It's about give it to.
Yes.
You know?
Give and take.
Yeah, give and take.
Flow.
This is the way the energy flow.
Yeah, I'll share with you guys one that I told my child Haven the other day. I said, baby, it's not your job to make mommy and papi happy. It's not her job. She's 9 years old. You know, whether it's getting tests, high test scores, somebody gets really excited about them A's. Hey, 100, she's super excited. My approach is a little different. I say, see, baby, you focused, you studied, and this is the result you got. But at a profound level, the parents are there to guide the kids. And we were all kids, you know what I'm saying? We were all raised, some of it was chaos, some of it was pure love, and some of it was a mixture of both, and some were really healthy and some were unhealthy. But it's our responsibility to dig into these, to find our own version of the Great Reset, so that we can hit that shift in mindset. And that shift in mindset, it's not just one time. It's not just a one-time thing, man. God will continue to bless us if we seek. If we seek and we're of service to others and we collaborate.
I know some of us were having problems picking out some of those positive and negative attributes. And since we were speaking on kids, I think that's a very easy self-reflection when you think of your parents and how they treated you as a kid, and then you think of yourself and how you treat your kids. And you can typically see the synchronicities and the differences that you have. You can see the strengths and the weaknesses that your parents had, that you sometimes will follow right back down that path, but then want to make those adjustments because of it. Whether they were good, bad, or ugly, you want to be better than or do differently than they did, right? So sometimes that's a really easy self-reflection on bringing that back into reality. You do this because your mother did that, or you do this differently because your mother did that, right? So it's big self-reflections can be brought into when you bring into the parenting, because of course, however your parenting was transmutes into how you do your parenting now.
That's an excellent point. I think that we can all relate to, most of us, our parents, our level of awareness, and in that work that Jacob just mentioned, we can see the programming. And the pattern. And we have the perspective of being a child. Y'all were little running around. And look at mom right there. Different perspective, right? And what happened along the way? Mindset shifts, mindset shifts, mindset shifts, mindset shifts.
I am good enough.
Different influences.
And we've all been, the Great Reset has happened all in our lives. But were we aware of it? Were we conscious of it? Today's goal is this right here. Architect and design. And now that you're aware of all of these layers, these are all tools to spark your mind. I know it's a lot to take in. I get it. We just came up with this morning.
If I like my house now, but I know the things I don't like about it, I know the things I would love to change about it. I can bring in the best architects in the world to tell me exactly how they would design my dream home. And they can help me get some ideas. But it's still up to me to sign the contract and write the check. I have to do that. Nobody else can do that for me. They're not gonna come build my house for me. They're not gonna do it. It's up to me to write that check for myself. Put my name on that, sign that down. It's one of the things we're asking you to do right here. Sign your name. That's a contract for yourself right there. This is a contract of reflection for yourself of things that you want to change. That is what that is. That's your own contract right there. Are you willing to put your name on a dotted line? Are you willing to commit to the transformations that will give you the changes in your life, right? So that's part of that design. You can have the architect help you, but you know what you want to design. You know what you want to build. Are you committed to signing that contract?
Very well said. I think we leave it right there.
I agree.
I want to thank you guys for coming out and attending and opening your minds and opening your hearts. And I hope it inspires you to make that commitment. Hope when you take this information home, you take in everything that's been said. It's been a lot. It'll be live on YouTube in a couple weeks. And check it out again and reflect again and take your time and ease into it and then make the commitment. Jacob Lawson, it was an honor to have you, my brother. Well done, homie.
Thank you, my brother.
I love you, my friend. Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
Go to theconnection.studio. We will put the handout for everybody at home across the world to tap into the Great Reset, to do your self-inventory, to make the commitment to yourself because you are good enough, you are worthy. You are enough and you deserve it. Step into your courage. Step into your courage. Jake Lawson, what you got for him?
Make the commitment.
Yes.
Don't try to do anything. Try to fail. Commit to the changes you want to make in yourself. It takes commitment. When you are committed, you will make something happen.
That's it, my brother. Until next time, friends, God bless. Thanks for joining us at the Connection Studio. You can support us by sharing with others and posting to social media. Keep doing the internal work, as it will truly make all the difference. God bless.